It's been a while since we have done one of these, so today let's take a look at the best phones that are currently available under the 30,000 rupee price bracket. Hey guys, Omar here from C4eTech, and if you do end up finding this video useful, then please consider subscribing and turning on notifications by hitting that bell icon. Let's now get started. Since our budget here is up to 30,000 rupees, that gives us a lot of flexibility. We can take a look at some of the new mid-ranges from the likes of Redmi or Realme, or we can take a look at some of the older flagships. And yes, we have heard you guys. All these older flagships are from non-Chinese companies. Samsung's flagship devices from 2018 are now available in the 30k price bracket. While the Galaxy S9 is available at around 25,000 rupees, its eldest sibling, the Galaxy S9 Plus, hovers around the 30 to 31,000 rupee mark. If you want to get your hands on a premium Samsung phone and for some reason weren't really able to cash in on the brilliant A80 deal from Flipkart a few days back, now is your chance to get your hands on some older Samsung flagships. The build and design has held up really well. We even have IP68 rating here, and honestly the pronounced curves to the screens makes it feel even more premium than this year's flagship S20 lineup, at least in my eyes. As for the internals, we have the Exynos 9810 inside both phones. This flagship chip from 2018 should still offer a pretty fluid experience, especially since it only has to push a 60Hz screen. Yes, we do miss out on higher refresh rate screens here, but those QHD Plus AMOLED panels are the best that we can find on any phone in this range. The 12 megapixel rear cameras still take good looking photos, but do lack the flexibility that a modern quad camera setup provides. But if you're someone who doesn't really shoot all that many ultra wide pictures and you're okay with middle of the road battery life, then the S9 and S9 Plus are pretty good pickups for the price. Next on the list is the Asus 6Z. It was one of the quirkiest flagships to have come out in a long time. It sported a swiveling camera setup and it had some really interesting video capture capabilities. Of course, when it came out last year, most people preferred the OnePlus 7 over the 6Z. But now that the price of the 6Z is around 28,000 rupees, it makes a lot of sense. With the 6Z, we get a Snapdragon 855 processor, a 6.4-inch Full HD Plus display, and a pretty big 5000 mAh battery. Not to forget those 48 megapixel selfies. Now with Google skipping over the 4th generation Pixels here in India and Pixel 3 and 3 XLs becoming scarce, the Pixel 3a becomes a fairly viable option for those looking to buy into the Pixel experience for the first time. At just a shade over 30,000 rupees, the Pixel 3a might not offer top-of-the-line hardware like our other two contenders, but it does bring with it Google's amazing photography prowess. This means that if you're someone who doesn't bother fiddling around with lenses and just wants the best shot on auto mode, the Pixel 3a is the best camera phone available in this price range. Weighing in at just 141 grams with a 5.6-inch screen on board, the Pixel 3 is pretty small and pocketable too. The Snapdragon 670 processor isn't gonna win any benchmark competitions, but combined with bone stock Android, the performance here, especially for day-to-day tasks, is nothing to scoff at. Now we can't mention small phones and not give a shout out to the iPhone 7. Yes, it's a phone from 2016, and yes, that means it's 4 years old at this point. But hey, if you really want an iPhone in this price range, the iPhone 7 is pretty much the only choice. It comes with the A10 Fusion chip, and while it originally came with iOS 10 on board, Apple has a brilliant track record of supporting older devices, and the iPhone 7 should be good for updates till iOS 15 at least. That's a lot more than what we can say with confidence for the upgrade paths of many of the other phones mentioned in here. Okay, so now that we have run through our list of older flagship devices, time now to take a look at some of the mid-ranges that dominate this segment. Now, this is not me promoting Chinese phones, guys. It just happens to be that these devices are the most value for money phones that you can buy in the under 30k price range. We recently did a video where we compared the X2 Pro, Realme's first flagship, with the new Realme mid-ranger, the X3 SuperZoom. And there we found the X2 Pro might just be the best bang for the buck phone to buy in this price range. It's got everything from a 90Hz AMOLED panel to last year's flagship 855 Plus processor, not to mention the super fast 50-watt charger and a quad camera module that holds up pretty well. Overall, a very well-rounded phone that does everything and does it well. We also get dual front-firing speakers that's pretty rare in this price range, with a 3.5mm headphone jack added into the mix. Next up, we have the Realme X3 SuperZoom. Now, as we did mention in a comparison video, the X3 SuperZoom does have a few advantages over the X2 Pro. First up is the higher 120Hz refresh rate IPS LCD panel. That, combined with the Snapdragon 855 Plus processor inside the X3 SuperZoom, makes this a gamer's delight. It also comes with that periscope telephoto camera that can take pictures at 5x, 10x and up to 60x magnification. And yes, this 8 megapixel snapper does come with optical image stabilization as well. The Realme X3 series also comes with a slew of new camera focused features, but these aren't just exclusive to the X3 SuperZoom. We get most of them in the regular X3 as well. Speaking of, Realme X3 also deserves a special mention in this list. It carries forward much of what makes the X3 SuperZoom such a powerful mid-ranger. So we have the same 120Hz IPS panel, the same 855 Plus SoC, and they even share a similar quad camera array to the back. The only change here is that we get a 12 megapixel telephoto camera that can only do up to 3x optical zoom instead of the 5x on the SuperZoom. Other than that, we also get a downgrade in terms of selfies. We still have a dual camera setup inside the pill-shaped cutout to the top left, and the 8 megapixel ultra-wide snapper is still there too. The primary though is now 16 instead of 32 megapixels. That being said, the X3 is a whole 3000 rupees cheaper than the X3 SuperZoom. And that, in my mind, makes it a much more interesting offering for someone looking to get a taste of the flagship experience under 25,000 rupees. And finally, wrapping up this list, we have the Redmi K20 Pro. The reason why it's here is that the K20 Pro brings something unique and completely different to the table. No notches, no punch holes, just an uninterrupted 6.39-inch AMOLED panel. It's one of the best implementations of the full view display and the pop-up camera, especially for the segment. As for the rest, we have the Snapdragon 855 processor from last year, along with a 4000 mAh battery and a 27-watt fast charger. We even have a triple camera setup consisting of a 48 megapixel primary, 8 megapixel telephoto and 13 megapixel ultra-wide. So overall, top of the line internals that is still worth it even now in 2020. And with that, we come to the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed our picks for the top phones in the 30k price segment. Agree or disagree with our list? Let us know how you feel by leaving a comment down below. And finally, if any one of these phones have caught your eye, then you can find our detailed video on them linked down in the description below. And that's about it for this video. Like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot for watching till the end, guys. Have a good one. Cheers.